Hello. So, E3 has started, the conferences have concluded, and we have convened once again to discuss. Uh, so, we're going to go through each conference basically and just kind of give our thoughts on what we liked, what we didn't like, and kind of give each conference a score. So, we have Rob, and
Hey everybody, how's it going?
we have John.
How's it going, everyone? You can't answer, but well, write in the
No,
comments.
exactly.
Comments below.
Tell us in the comments
Like and
how
subscribe.
you're doing and how you enjoyed E3.
Yeah,
Smash
please
that
do.
like button.
Actually, do that. I'm not joking.
Um, so I was actually visiting Rob while some of these conferences were happening, so I had to go back and watch them. I didn't watch anything live except for part of the Sony one, and then my internet actually cut out. Excuse me, while I was watching the Sony one. Um, but I got to see the Square Enix one live, which ended up being the least exciting one in my opinion. Um, did you guys
I
get
don't
to
know.
watch it
That's
live?
competition.
Yeah, that's true. Did you guys get to watch much of it live at all?
I watched Square Enix's, I watched Ubisoft's, I watched some of Sony's. I didn't watch any of Microsoft's live. I just went back and watched some of the games. I didn't even watch the whole thing, and I watched Nintendo's live. I didn't watch EA or the PC one or blanking out here.
Mhm.
Um,
I
yeah.
I
Oh
understand you
yeah,
actually
any of
recorded
those.
your reactions to the Nintendo one, right?
Yeah, and if I may plug that, that'll be on my channel. I did it with Steven, and it'll be on my channel same time this is posted up, same day. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah,
Nice. I can't
cool.
wait.
I'll put a link to that, I guess, in the description.
I'll put a link
Um,
to yours as well on mine.
nice. I saw all of them except for Nintendo. I wasn't able to catch live. I thought I could pull it off, but it just didn't work out. So I
Same with
caught it
me.
later. And like I don't know, there were some conferences where it's like I didn't really catch anything that Devolver talked about, or like Limited Run Games had one. I was
Right.
in and out of the PC gaming one, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, it's kind of like Christmas for me. So I like to catch them live. I like to. It feels like everyone's like there, and we're all like with bated breath, waiting for that next thing that's about to pop up. So
It is like kind of like Christmas for me too. Yeah. I had to work during the Nintendo Direct as well, so like I actually had to like ignore like I didn't even go on my phone. I didn't go on the internet whatsoever all day, and I managed to avoid any spoilers for what ended up being, I don't know, a pretty good conference. But anyway, I guess we'll get to that.
yeah.
Um, so did you guys want to start with the EA conference?
Sure, it started off the whole E3. I mean, they're not really at E3 anymore, but they're in the E3 area type of thing. And they
Uh,
started on Saturday, so they were alone on Saturday. They had the
mhm.
whole internet to themselves. And did they bring it?
I don't know about that. I mean, they talked about a bunch of games that we already knew about. I don't know if Unravel 2 had been announced or not.
No, that was brand
Um,
new.
okay, and I mean, Sea of Solitude obviously was probably the most interesting thing, I think. Anthem obviously looks cool as well. Some people may disagree with that. I don't know. What do you guys think of Anthem? Any thoughts?
Rob.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I
I,
got
I
I,
brought
did,
Rob.
direct
I
who's
didn't I didn't
talking a little
see
more.
EA. Like I said, I didn't see EA's, so I didn't see
Oh,
the
that's right. I'm sorry,
yeah.
Rob. I was
That's
Sorry.
like,
okay,
come
it's
on,
fine.
Rob, let's get
I
going
think I
here.
did see Star Wars Battlefront though, which looked good.
Yeah, they're adding Clone Wars content to that, I guess, eh?
That's pretty cool.
So that should be cool.
So I thought, yeah, when I look at the conference, it was like I think the two standouts in my opinion were the two EA originals,
Hmm.
Unravel 2 and Sea of Solitude. Uh, Unravel clear like it had a clear hook. It was co-op. It was
Hmm.
new, and I think people like Unravel 1 enough that there's excitement for a sequel. And Sea of Solitude, I thought that was really good. I liked that the director came out and she was very nervous, but worked through it and really sold us her vision for this game. And I thought Anthem looked okay. It was
Yeah.
not the game that I want BioWare to work on personally, but I think that if you're into that, it looked very cool.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting like as weird as I don't know as minute a detail as this is. I wasn't expecting to see like damage counters on screen when you're attacking people in this
Mm.
game. It kind of seemed a little out of place to me. I don't know.
It was, yeah, there were like numbers popping off of stuff, right?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool otherwise though to me. I mean, I like the environments. I like the enemies that they showed off. In
For sure.
terms of,
And I
like the
mean,
big
there's
enemies.
something to enjoy about playing a game that's like you're walking around in a big mech suit.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
there was no like forced gamer dialogue in that part of the conference. So I was happy about that.
It was nice, yes. And yeah, I mean, I guess the low point is kind of obvious for you, John.
Oh, my heart.
Yeah, you told me about this, James. This was I kind of laughed a little bit. Sorry, John. It's a little ironic.
Especially since
Well,
you
I think
mentioned this, yeah, in your previous video.
yeah, so we did a video right before where we mostly talked about Nintendo stuff, but I think we did hopes and dreams, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
I really want Command and Conquer to come back because, and I was like, I don't think it ever will. And I kind of said the only way it would ever come back is like as a mobile phone game, which
Exactly what
I mean
happened.
exactly what we saw. It's,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I
yay.
didn't actually watch any footage of it because I really just don't care, and I
Yeah.
feel like it would be a little depressing.
For anyone that's wondering, it's like Clash Royale style, I guess. I don't play that game either, but that's what I'm told. They spent a really long time. They had a whole demonstration. They had like esports casters come out and cast it, and
Oh
it
man.
was it's so bad. It was just like, and they did not tell you that it was Command and Conquer until the very end because they knew people would be upset if they
Yeah.
knew beforehand.
Damn. That's awful. It sounds like it's. I don't know if it's going to be that bad, but it sounds like it's kind of getting the dungeon keeper treatment a little bit.
But like, so it is right, and that's not
Hmm.
the only they've done with old IP. But like, Dungeon Keeper didn't end up in E3, right? Like, that
True.
was just something that they put out, and I don't know, it was so insulting, especially to have Andrew Wilson come out and say like, you know, it's Command and Conquer for a new generation. It's like I wanted to reach into my monitor and strangle him.
That's sad. Sad. So I mean, if you had to give that conference a rating, do you have some in mind?
I think I would give it. I kind of in my head was going through, and it's like I find it hard to give a conference too low a score, especially since I did like two of the games that were in it, even though it did hurt me personally. I think I ended it
Mhm.
with a four, flat
Wow.
4 out of 10.
I might go that low too. Yeah, I might go like 4.55, but like wasn't too impressed. Other than those two original games and Anthem a little bit, but not really any more than I already was. And I mean, Battlefield 5 having Battle Royale is pretty much expected. Wasn't really a big surprise.
They didn't show it. Like, I mean, that's the thing is like I don't. I think that it's easy to be like Command and Conquer was the worst part of that, but it's like there were so many bad parts of that conference. Like they showed Madden only by having the esports, the guy who won the only Madden esports tournament there is every year come out. Like they didn't show the game. They didn't like talk about the new features. It was just like, here's this guy, as if we were supposed to, like just wasting our time. And I felt like it was wasting our time. The conference, Battlefield 5 did not show its battle royale. Like it didn't really show much of anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't
That
be
was
surprised if it's not even ready yet.
no, I don't. I think that both it and Call of Duty will not launch with their battle royales. That's my theory.
That sounds that sounds right. That sounds like it could definitely be right. All right, did you catch the Microsoft conference, Rob?
Yeah, some of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched quite a few of the games on there. Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing though.
I think I actually
Um,
fell asleep watching it, if because I remember actually watching like the first bit of it up until
mhm,
maybe Kingdom Hearts, maybe even
mhm.
Battlefield 5, and then I had to go back and watch it again, and I think I saw most of it at that point. But that was That was quite a return to form, I think, for Microsoft. That was one of my favorite Microsoft conferences in years.
They had a ton of games too. I
That was
mean,
an insane amount of
just
games. What about you? What do you think, John?
Yeah, I mean, I really liked the conference. I wasn't surprised because it felt like Microsoft was going in this direction. This
Hmm.
was the best conference, certainly this gen. I'm gonna say probably of all time because I think that old conferences from last gen, even when they were on top, like I
Hmm.
feel like there was too much of that. Like these are like those original conferences. They're like supposed to be kind of for like people that own stock, basically, and that vestigial tail of those probably existed a lot more back then than it does now. When they're entertainment. They're meant to excite you. They're meant to get you, thinking positive things about the Xbox brand.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I had a really good time watching it. I thought it was a little flabby in the middle, but otherwise it was really nice.
That's true. Even back when like they had their really good conferences back in like the 360 days, like they would still spend a lot of time talking about like Netflix and like system features and updates and stuff. And like they don't really, I guess they talked about Quick Start briefly, but like they have a lot better pace to them, and they're just like really focused on games, just like laser focused on announcing games. Them and Sony, and I guess Nintendo now too.
I think those old conferences they would have a lot of like person would come out, talk about the game they're about to announce, then it would pan to the game. Then you would get some of that game, then the next person would come out and talk like. And I think that I like someone coming out to talk. I do like that, but I don't think it has to be for every game. I like when it's back to back to back of,
Hmm.
like boom, boom, boom. It feels like you're like, ooh, I'm not even ready for the next one, but here it comes.
Yeah, it's great. It's got so much better pace, and like you get like excited and you get like surprised. It's nice. It's like seeing
Speaking
trailers
of,
before a movie kind of thing almost, except it's just trailer after trailer after trailer.
which is like, especially, I don't know, when you guys go to the movies, like I think that when I watch movie trailers, I'm interested in maybe one of them,
True.
and
Yeah.
there are some that I'm just like, this is awful. Like I just
Yeah.
I don't want to watch this at all. So I think that like they have done a much better job because I think that even a bad game trailer, one that I'm not that interested in, is still better than like the worst movie trailers that I've seen. Had
Yeah.
to sit watching before a movie.
True. Very true. Um, and yeah, I mean, I just, they also kind of focus more on games than on like, graphs of like their player base and like things like that too. I
Because we
mean,
don't want to
yeah, exactly. I mean,
cares.
so I mean, what were some standout things for you at that conference, John?
Um, I am going to shock everyone
Okay.
and say that one of my favorite things that I saw in that press conference was Fallout 76.
I was
Uh,
actually just thinking about that.
it was pretty early in the conference, and I'd seen the event, the teaser trailer before E3, and then the Jason Schreier article came out that said like, hey, this is not a traditional Fallout. This is some sort of Rust clone.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, I don't really care to play that. But then watching that trailer, I just thought it was so well done that it kind of almost made me forget. And I
Yeah,
was like, oh,
totally.
no, this is Fallout. Like Fallout. I want more Fallout. And so it was just really nice trailer, and yeah, was it John Denver song? And
Yeah, Country Roads. That was good.
It was great.
It really just felt like there's a new Fallout game coming out. Like it doesn't really feel like a spin-off as much.
It didn't while I was watching it in Microsoft. It might later.
Yeah, the second trailer I saw at the Bethesda conference where they talk about nuking each other and stuff. I don't know, that felt a little more like a spin-off. But yeah, that was definitely one of the bigger highlights for me because I finally got a good look at the game. Um, how about you, Rob? Did you have like a certain highlight, like a certain high point?
Cyberpunk looks awesome.
Yeah, honestly, that was probably my
Yeah.
probably my first favorite, to be honest.
And the one that just made me go like, "What?" was Battletoads. when we watched that. You were at my house when we watched that. I think you
That's
were just
true.
like, there's a new Battletoads game. I'm like, what? And we watched the trailer. It
Yeah,
was
I was
cool.
going over the headlines, and then like we
Yeah,
watched a few of the trailers, and one of them was Battletoads.
yeah, that was
They had
great.
nothing to show of Battletoads,
Mm,
unfortunately, but
no,
still, I'm looking forward to it.
it was still
It's
an
something that,
entertaining trailer, but, surprisingly. Sorry.
That's
yeah,
cool.
Cyberpunk was fantastic. I
Yeah.
really like. That's a game that's obviously went away for a long time. You know, I
Mhm.
think it's been 5 years since it was announced,
Yeah.
and I'm still right on board. I think that that's that's maybe the best example in gaming of like a studio that's gotten way better very quickly. Like I feel like from the first Witcher game to like the Blood and Wine expansion of Witcher 3, like
Mhm.
that has grown tremendously over a short amount of time, and I'm very excited to see them do anything that's not Witcher.
Yeah. I still need to play The Witcher 3. Actually, that's really on my list.
It's pretty good, but it's long, so be
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, my highlight would probably be Cyberpunk as well. That trailer was just amazing. I mean, and I just love Cyberpunk as a genre. I don't think it gets a lot of representation that it deserves. Um,
Yeah.
I guess other than that, I mean, Crackdown 3 was pretty entertaining. It was nice to see Terry Crews just like tearing it up in that trailer.
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing where it's like Crackdown has been around for so long, but at least he was fun to watch.
Yeah.
He was in the last trailer they did too, and yeah,
Yep.
it's fun to watch at least. It might not be a game that I'm super interested in, but
Nah, it might be worth a rental at least. I think he was live action in the last time though. This was the first time they showed like him like in the game, right?
might be right about that.
Yeah. And then I think my favorite part actually might have been them specifically when they announced Ninja Theory that they were getting them. I mean, the other game companies obviously was a big deal as well, especially this new company, The Initiative. But I think it's really cool that they got Ninja Theory on board, considering they used to make PlayStation games.
Yeah, I think that feels like for me that might be like the biggest thing that Microsoft has done. They've done little things this generation to catch up. This feels like the biggest thing that people have been talking about for so long that like hey, they don't have if you don't care about Gears, Forza and Halo, they just don't have games that you're going to be interested in.
Mm.
They don't have enough first party studios. They kind of closed a lot of their studios in the late 2000s and this is obviously like Microsoft is committed to like being they are going to be a major factor in for games in the future in the next 10 years 20 years something like that. uh, it's probably very expensive to acquire all these studios and stuff like that, so I thought that was really cool. And yeah, Ninja Theory is a great studio. They've made great games. Sometimes they have not done commercially well, but I don't really think even the games that people don't love, I still think that there is a niche audience that really does love them. So that's kind of what Microsoft needs the most, I think, right now.
Definitely. And
Before we moved on from Microsoft, I do want to say that I think that I was personally not most interested, but maybe it just hit me at the right time, kind of right after the Fallout trailer. Was the Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit? It's a free game. You can totally play that for free on the 26th, I think. It is a story set in the Life is Strange universe. It's probably going to be some sort of prequel to Life is Strange 2. That's just a guess. And I think that there's not a lot of games that tell stories like Life is Strange. I think that kind of was very unique, and I want more games to do that kind of thing. So it very much excited me that to see Don't Nod doing more in that universe. And I think it showed very well.
yeah, it seems to be. Are they showing like more gameplay of that, or just the trailer?
I really don't think that there is that much more of it. I really think that you're going to play through that, and at the very end of it, there's going to be some sort of trailer or something for Life is Strange. It's just speculation based on the fact that they need to make money. So that's the reason they would give away a game for free is to promote their next game. Would be my guess.
Yeah. I was nice. It was nice to
I
see-
think okay.
I was just gonna say it was
No,
nice to
please
see the
go.
new skateboarding game too with Session. I just wanted to mention that.
Oh yeah, you were super excited about that. You're like, somebody's making a new skateboard game. You were
True,
like
that's
super
been
excited.
Quite a while.
It's the people that worked on the old skate games as well, apparently.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
It's so funny that like there was so many rumors about Skate 4 happening because EA turned the Skate 3 servers back on right before this. And so
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Oh, Skate 4 is going to happen." And then it didn't happen at EA, and so it was like, "Okay." And then this trailer started and everyone was like, "Oh, it's the long con. It's here at Microsoft. Here's Skate." It's like, "No, it's not Skate at all."
Yeah, what were you gonna say, Rob? Sorry.
I think Ori and Will o' the Wisp looks really beautiful. That looks like a cool game. Well, I think we
Definitely.
talked about that last time.
We mentioned it, yeah, and it definitely does look great. The first one was a great game too, and this one seems to use a lot more 3D models.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be more of the same great stuff, same great art, same great platforming stuff.
It's I said this yesterday to you, James, but it definitely feels like if Ori and the Blind Forest was Donkey Kong Country Returns, this very much looks like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for them.
Yeah,
It just looks like they honed their craft, and this is more beautiful using the backgrounds and stuff like that a lot more, and more 3D stuff. It came off tremendously well. I think that that's something that people shouldn't sleep on that game series. I think could be a big series with the second game coming out.
Kind of makes me want
I
to
hope so.
play the first one since I obviously haven't played it. You know,
yeah.
I felt like that about another game that we'll mention later because it was part of another conference, which you probably know, James. But
Maybe.
What a tease!
yeah, ooh.
Did you want to move on to Bethesda / ZeniMax?
Please do.
Okay. So,
Oh, you
wait, I
didn't
guess we
rate
didn't
that
really
conference
Yeah,
yet.
that's true. We didn't
Oh
rate
yeah,
Microsoft. Honestly, I'd probably give them a 9.
I came in at a 9.5 for them.
What about you, Rob?
I'll give you guys that. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing, but all the stuff that I watched, I really liked. And I mean, honestly, just for Cyberpunk, Battletoads, they kind of got the first Kingdom Hearts trailer, so it kind of to me it really in a way kind of stole Square Enix's thunder because
Yeah.
Square Enix really didn't have much else to show, in my opinion. But I'd go right along with you guys from what I saw. Yeah, probably a 9. Definitely one of the better conferences for sure.
Yeah.
I alluded to the fact that they had a flabby section. I do want to just say that it was like Division 2 had a long gameplay demo. If you don't really care about Division 2, that probably didn't interest you very much. Then they talked about Xbox Game Pass, which was pretty talky and not that interesting. And then it was Shadow of the Tomb Raiders, not so hot trailer. And so that was kind of it. That it just felt like this conference slowed down for a bit in the middle. But otherwise, I think that it moved along fantastically. The presentation was excellent.
Yeah, that's true. It was good. And Phil Spencer's always a good host, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's enthusiastic. But yeah, ZeniMax showed off. I mean, Rage 2 did it get leaked, or did they just kind of show it off?
It was both.
Before.
It was leaked in the Walmart
Oh, right. And
thing, and then they showed off a live action trailer for it, and
Oh.
then a gameplay trailer of it the next day or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And they kind of showed more of it today, or not today, whenever this
But,
conference was.
yeah. And it was. I mean, yeah, it was okay. I thought it was interesting that you said it would eat Borderlands lunch, or at least they'd be trying to do that, because it did definitely reminded me of that. I think the highlights for me were the Doom and Wolfenstein sequels, other than Fallout, obviously. But Other than that, they kind of alluded to some sequels that are probably very far off. Or
Very.
not sequel, or rather, one original game, Starfield, and one sequel, Elder Scrolls. I was kind of impressed by Elder Scrolls Blades, though, to be honest. I might actually give that a shot. Um,
Ooh, I thought you were going to say, I might switch my vote and make Elder Scrolls Blades my number one.
I don't know about that, but overall, though, I mean, it was kind of a little weak because the only two games that were kind of new that they showed off, Doom and Wolfenstein, were just kind of teaser trailers, right?
I mean, for me, it was kind of four teaser trailers with surrounded by Fallout 76 and Rage 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd like to be more interested in Wolfenstein 2 Youngblood, and which is a standalone, but it's kind of DLC. I think it's going to be a cheap game, probably 30 would be my guess, much like Old Blood was. And then Doom is a full sequel, but like they just had nothing to show, and then just to be like, hey, get ready for QuakeCon because we're going to show more. It's like, well, I want to see more now. Come on.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, like you said, Starfield and Elder Scrolls, it just seemed like those were shown to shut people up, so that people
Definitely.
would stop asking. Which won't happen anyway, so I don't know why they would bother indulging those people.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you catch any of that one, Rob, or was that one that you kind of skipped?
No, not really. I think I saw just a little bit aside from Fallout. Yeah, actually, no. I didn't even see Elder Scrolls, so I probably should go back and watch some of those.
There's
Well,
nothing to see.
Yeah,
Rob.
the Elder
No.
Scrolls 6 trailer is literally just some mountains. That's the whole
Oh, okay.
thing.
Never mind then. Never mind.
It's
I'm not gonna
they
work that
said
out.
in the conference, Rob, that like Starfield is the next game that their main studio, Bethesda Game Software, will be working on after Fallout 76 comes out, and then like Elder Scrolls will be after that game is done.
Oh yeah, so it's literally just like a. Yeah.
It's like-
I see.
Well into the 2020s before we see that game. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, definitely. Which is crazy to think.
I think this is so strange because I did not buy this game, but I was most impressed with the stuff for Prey.
Hmm.
Prey is like not a game that's really like targeted towards me. It's kind of looks difficult and scary and kind of not that interesting to me personally. But I thought they showed, they had the Moon DLC stuff, which included like multiplayer modes and weird things where like you are playing as like a mimic and you can like trick the one person into picking you up and stuff like that. And there was VR mode showed for Prey as well.
Hmm.
And overall, I was like, I thought Prey came off very well in this. But that more goes to the fact that I was not impressed with almost anything they showed. Really, this was like Fallout 76 were really de-hyped for me. I like Todd Howard, but I just think that game is just not quite up my alley the way I was hoping that it would be. And I just look at this list and it was like,
Yeah,
they talked about Elder Scrolls Legends basically to be like, hey, we're redoing all of the art. We don't have any of that art to show you. We don't even have any, we don't even have an example. Like it was just like we're going to be doing all new stuff with this, which I heard they kicked the old studio off that project and
really.
are unhappy with it. But like, why was that even in the conference then? Like if you had nothing to show, it just felt like a conference with nothing to show.
Yeah, and the card game market feels a little crowded too. I think I don't know how successful they'll be with that.
Not very.
I'd probably give that whole thing like maybe a 5, maybe a 6. I don't know, 5.5.
Man, I feel like I was 6.
Yeah.
This seems a little high. No, I'll go straight 6 for it.
All right.
It wasn't irritating. I like Andrew WK, and Rage and Fallout were not exactly the games that I want to play, but I don't think that they showed extremely poorly either.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you think you have a score for that, Rob, or did you not kind of?
I didn't really. I don't think I can score because I didn't
Yeah,
see it.
okay.
So
And then
I'll
we
take
all
your
watched
word
the-
for it.
we all watched the Square Enix one.
I
That
watched
was
all the rest of them, so
oh,
I
okay.
was of the ones you mentioned, the only one I really saw the most of was Microsoft. So, but I watched the rest of them.
It's good.
Okay.
Don't watch the other two; they're bad. So,
James
we
and I were
saved
too
a lot
busy
of time.
partying all weekend. We missed the Microsoft one live.
It's true. Mario partying.
Yeah, that was savage. We played Mario Party 2. That's a different story.
So yeah, next we had Square Enix, which I mean, I was really hoping to see at least either the Avengers or Final Fantasy VII, and I didn't see either. So that
Yeah.
was kind of disappointing.
Not kind of disappointing.
I mean, I guess
Disappointing.
the highlight was for me was Just Cause 4. Even though I knew about it, it looks pretty sweet. That tornado looks pretty fun.
I was actually going to say Just Cause 4 was pretty great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
I mean, for me,
definitely the
it's probably Kingdom Hearts, but like the problem they had was they already showed the trailer, so and it was just
Yeah.
slightly different. And there was a couple little expanded things in some
Like
of the
the one,
scenes.
the Ratatouille shot was like the only one that I could see
Yeah,
was
that was
noticeably.
that was cool. I liked that. And I mean, Babylon's Fall. What was that again? A mech game?
That was the Platinum Games.
Oh, right,
Uh,
right. That was like the. Was that like the Japanese?
yeah, it was
Okay.
one of the many Japanese samurai type games
Yes.
that were
Many
shown.
like ancient feudal Japan, very hot this year.
Yeah.
4 separate games with that setting.
I
Tension.
thought Dragon Quest looked really good. I've never played a Dragon Quest game, but that looks like a decent game.
Yeah.
So I think that is my game of the conference. Even though I complained that I feel like it should be a much bigger deal, and it irritates me to no end that like I know that Square's not going to put any money into promoting it because it's coming out the same month as Tomb Raider,
Oh.
and it just feels like they don't care. It's just like, it's going to get its audience, and that's all. It just felt like, it feels like it should be so much bigger. Like, and it's going to be like sub Persona levels of excitement. Like,
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably true.
Persona is so much cheaper to make probably than that game. So like, I just feel like they could do so much more. I mean, there's should be a pretty big market for it. It's a big deal, It's the first time a Dragon Quest game has been on a console since the PlayStation 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, it was on the 3DS and the DS for a very long time.
And that the MMO didn't even come out over here, so like
Yeah.
it should be a big deal. It's like it's back. And it doesn't. That trailer did not feel like it's back. It felt like it's business as usual.
Yeah.
It looked good though. The trailer alone, I thought, wow, that kind of makes me want to play that game. It's a series I've always meant to get into, just never did.
I liked
for
how the
some
bosses
reason.
looked. Yeah.
Yeah, they look great though.
Really bummed out that we don't get the orchestrated music. I think I'm gonna get the Steam version of that and try and patch it back in. I guess there's some problem with copyright of it or
Wow.
something like that, or it was too expensive to get the rights, so we get some non-orchestrated version where the Japanese people get the orchestrated version, which is the
That
exact
sucks.
opposite of Dragon Quest VIII, where they didn't get the orchestrated version, but we did.
So weird. That's almost like kind of like how I would love to see a Chrono Trigger remake look. Would be like that style, Dragon Quest 11 kind of thing.
Hmm.
I'd love to see something like that.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I completely agree with you, James. I was kind of thinking that.
Yeah. And I mean, the Quiet Man, I didn't know what to think of. At first, I thought it was a Bouncer sequel.
Yeah, that didn't do anything for me. The Quiet
Just
Man.
It looked so out of place for me. Like it was clearly not done by one of their Eastern studios. It must be one of their Western studios or some sort of partnership with an indie studio. I'm not actually sure, but
Maybe.
it was strange. It was a mix between live action and not gameplay. It was CG, I think, but
Yeah, I feel like they could have talked about a lot of things. I feel like they could have talked about Final Fantasy a lot more. Like, even just the state of the series. Like,
Oh yeah.
something, I don't know.
I
And
mean, there was
Octo-
pretty much no talking at all in this press conference. It was
Yeah,
just
right.
it was a video. I mean, it was not a stage demonstration.
Just Keith David talking, that's it.
Yeah, that's right. Keith David, I would listen to Keith David talk to me about the state of Final
Yeah, that's
Fantasy
true.
franchise.
I just
That
listen to
sounds-
him as I go to sleep at night.
I'm excited for Octopath Traveler, but it wasn't like I wasn't like,
I was gonna mention
yeah,
that too.
Octopath. Like
It's already
it's only a
been
month
announced.
away, right?
Yeah.
So
I think Nintendo has done like I feel like they have done the legwork of selling that game.
oh yeah.
So overall, I'd probably give that one a 4, I guess. I don't know.
Before I give my score, I do want to
Okay.
bitch about one thing.
Sure.
It's not my worst thing, but I do want to bitch about the Kingdom Hearts like trailer campaign for Kingdom Hearts 3. I just feel like we've had so many trailers for this game because it was announced so long ago now, and it was just like every year we get a new trailer for this game that was still so far away. Uh, and I feel like at no point in time have they made a trailer that is accessible to anyone that is not extremely familiar with Kingdom Hearts. It's like every trailer is, okay, we're showing a new Disney World. Zora and company are interacting with the characters. Then there's a weird, crazy fight where Zora's like doing kung fu shit and like jumping around and using flow motion. And then there's like a tonal shift and it gets really like sad and we introduce like a bunch of characters that are like really, really unimportant to the story anyway. So I don't know why they're in this trailer. And then there's some shocking thing at the end that's not shocking to anyone that does not have like an extreme familiarity with the series.
That's a very good description of how like pretty much every trailer has gone. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I,
it's
like this is the end of this whole like shebang. I know it's probably not going to be the last game with the Kingdom Hearts name. It's probably not even going to be the last game with Zora in it, but it will be the end of this villainous arc. Like we've had the same villain through all of these games. He's a really bad dude, and it's like, Civil War, man. It's good guys on one side and bad guys on the other. Like I can see the movie poster now, and it's like some guys who were bad in some games are going to be good in Kingdom Hearts 3, and some people who were good in other games are going to be bad in this one. And it just feels like that's such an obvious, like, it's this race against time. The bad guy is creating an army of lieutenants of baddom, and they're trying to do this bad thing, and that should be so easy to demonstrate to people, and then show some Disney World, and you got them. But they never even felt like they attempted to do this at all.
like they're not catering at all to somebody who's never played the series. You're kind of saying.
Yes, like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. As James, as someone who has not played, like, have you been able to understand like any of these trailers that you saw this weekend?
Not in terms of like what's going on in the story or like who these people are now. Like I really have no idea.
Like it just made me so angry in that trailer that like they showed Pence and Olette and Hater, who are very minor characters in Kingdom Hearts 2, who I know are not going to be important in Kingdom Hearts 3. There's no way they are. But they were like, yeah, let's show these characters. This is for the fans. It's like, it's so confusing. People don't know what's going on. Like, so many characters, dudes. It just bugs me. Sorry, that was all I wanted to say. I kind of burned myself out on that. But I think my Square Enix score was a 5.5.
All right.
Or straight 5. Well, I'll go straight 5.
How about you, Rob?
I'll give it a 3. I was pretty disappointed with it, to be honest.
I like that spiciness.
Well, yeah. I was hoping to. I don't know. I was hoping for. It felt like there was just something missing the whole time, and it's not even just Final Fantasy VII because I was of course hoping. Yeah, two things missing. But I was hoping, of course, for some kind of Final Fantasy news, even if like it was some minor trailer or like somebody saying something about it, and there was nothing. But it also felt like, I don't know, just Tomb Raider looked alright. I mean, the only thing I was really impressed with, really, aside from Octopath Traveler, which I'm already sold on, was Dragon Quest. That was really the only other thing that kind of blew me away.
Hold the presses, Rob, because do have Final Fantasy news here. We have the Final Fantasy 14 Cross Monster Hunter World. Did you not see that information?
Yeah, it was something.
Something very exciting to put in your press conference. That was the only Final Fantasy thing that was in this at all,
that's
by
a
the way.
shame. I think it would have been fine. I think maybe it did not serve them well to show that trailer on Microsoft's conference first.
Hmm.
They should have at least done a third, maybe different trailer than that one. And you know,
I mean, they can't
the
show everything. I just feel like
I know they
when I
can't,
look
but
at this, it's like what was served from actually having your own press conference? Like,
yeah,
did any of these
Nothing.
actually like Dragon Quest not getting into a press conference would suck, but I don't really think like Just Cause was in Microsoft, Kingdom Hearts was in Microsoft and Sony. Nier Automata made it into Microsoft. Like almost all of these games showed up elsewhere.
yeah.
Why did they think they needed a press conference? Just does not make any sense to me.
Yeah.
They,
It was
they
so
didn't.
wasted
Yeah,
time.
you assume them having a press conference, they'd have something like big to announce or something newer to announce, and there really wasn't.
I mean, especially since they don't have one every year. They haven't had one since 2015, where
Yeah.
that press conference wasn't that good, but they actually had like a lot of games to talk about. That was the Final Fantasy VII remake year. That
Mhm.
was they announced Hitman. They announced Just Cause. That was they had Deus Ex. They had Life is Strange. They just had a ton of stuff that year, and this was like,
Mhm.
well, we don't really have a ton of stuff, so I don't know.
No. At least and the stuff they have, they don't want to talk about.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, you want to move on to Ubisoft,
Please.
please? So, I mean, we saw a little more of Beyond Good and Evil 2. A new Trials game was kind of nice. I've always liked that series. I honestly didn't really see what Transference was. Are you guys aware of what that was?
It's
Mm.
Elijah Wood's VR game.
Okay.
Oh, that. Yes.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it was shown last year too.
Um, how'd you like that Star Fox cameo, Rob?
That was cool. It wasn't even just Fox's cameo in Starlink. I think Starlink looks like a great game. I really want to get it for the Switch.
Yeah, so are you like
Rob,
building?
are you aware that it is a Toys to Life game?
No.
You have to like build your ship like out of real parts, right? And then you get that
Yes.
in the
Uh,
game.
It's
Yeah.
it's kind of not dissimilar to Lego Dimensions that way.
Mhm.
Oh,
I
damn.
like that was so shown into the background that
Yeah.
Rob did not even realize.
But I didn't even catch
Wow.
it. Yeah.
I
So there you go.
I loved that there was
No,
a.
I didn't realize that. That's funny. Oh my god. It looked good though.
It's a shame. I
Yeah.
love that there was a reference to the DK rap in the Ubisoft conference. That's always a
I
good
love
thing.
their
That's
opening.
right, there
It was
totally
fantastic.
was. Grant Kirkhope, yeah, killing it.
Fantastic.
And yeah, I think they had a pretty good showing though. Like I was interested in Assassin's Creed, even if Walt isn't. um,
Yeah, I thought Assassin's Creed, and I've only played a little bit of that series. I've only ever played the first two, and I thought it looked great. I,
Yeah.
I love ancient Greece anyway, so
I-
I thought it looked great. I thought the gameplay looked fun. I don't know. A
I-
lot of Assassin's Creed fans are complaining about it, but I think it looks good as a casual person.
I was always kind of a casual fan of that series, and I honestly like with the last two have really come back to this series, and it's like caught my attention again.
You know what? I think you guys have sold me. I think that's my best game of the conference when I look at this. I'm like,
Honestly, yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard not to choose that. I mean, the Crew 2 looked kind of cool, but I don't know if I'd choose that as my best game of the conference. But
yeah, I was kind of spoiled by seeing some actual gameplay of that in a non-conference setting. I mean, it's coming out really soon, so
yeah,
that's
I
inevitably
think
going to
I'm gonna check
happen.
The beta, that is.
Skull and Bones was like, it was
I
like,
didn't even
alright.
watch that part, to be honest.
No,
It showed
okay.
it showed a lot better than it did last year, though. I think people were
Yeah.
really bummed out. They were like, "Oh yeah, ship combat! I can't wait!" And then they realized, like, "Oh, this is like a multiplayer only. Like, you don't get off your ship. You are like, it is For Honor, but you're all ships, basically."
Hmm.
But this, they showed like it had a hub. You got off. There was character customization. There's going to be a single player campaign. I think that Ubisoft took that criticism to heart last year, and improved that game. I think it could be a bigger deal than some people think it will be.
Yeah, I could see it. People like pirates.
And Beyond Good and Evil, I thought that had a really good trailer. I was glad
Yeah.
to see that there were old characters showing up. I wonder if that was like always planned or if they were like after last year, and people were like, "Where's Paige? Where's Jade? What's going on?" And they switched the story somehow. I don't know, but
Because that's the game that I was talking about that I want to play the first one because I thought that looked really good, and it's a game that It was Beyond Good and Evil was a game that I'd heard about way back when it came out in the GameCube days and just never played. And it's been a game recently that I wanted to replay. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Wow, that looks really good. I got to play the first so I can play the second one." So
It definitely
yeah.
feels like an N64 era Zelda game kind of thing.
hmm
It's got that vibe to it for sure, except a lot more
Yeah.
taking pictures.
it's beloved too, despite not selling any copies. It's people have always wanted a sequel to it because they just really like that game so much. Yeah, I'm with you, Rob. I've really wanted to. I own it on GOG, I think, and I've wanted to go and play it at some point in time. I'd like to do that before this sequel slash prequel, I guess, comes out.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
that might be one I play on the channel. To be honest, I think it's because I always do an RPG, so I think I'll probably do that at some point and then check out the second one because it looked really good. And from what I've seen of the first one, it looks good too. And like you guys said, it's so beloved and it's so odd because it did not sell well at all and must say a lot about the game.
It wasn't super well promoted, was it, when it came out?
Man, I don't even really remember.
I mean,
it
that's
coming
fair.
out.
It was 16 years ago.
Nobody
Like-
who's watching this is gonna remember this, but you two will. The first time I'd ever heard about it and always stuck with me was Davy Dave, also known as Mr. Awesome from TUNB. Like I remember him raving about it on TUNB, and I remember going, "I got to play that game. It sounds really cool," and I just never did. But it always stuck with me. I was like, it always stuck with me. I was like, I've got to play Beyond Good and Evil. I just never did. So, oh, I definitely have a reason to.
But I remember like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines coming out. I remember that game getting slaughtered and Troika closing White Wolf and like yeah, I just don't remember. I know that people liked it and that was it. I don't think I was aware of when it was released. I just sort of like came out and yeah, I didn't hear enough about it until years later.
hmm Yeah, I was kind of the same way. I heard about it when it came out, but then I went back and played it later, like probably in the PS3 360 days, and it didn't get too far. I think I have the HD version on Steam. I should probably check it out myself as well, replay it. Um,
Competing channels. You play it, Rob plays it at the same time, and compete against each other.
we've done that before. We've had competing Chrono Trigger let's plays a little bit.
Yeah, that was. But it's no
All
competition.
good
We
fun,
help
though.
each other.
Did you guys have anything else to say about Ubisoft?
Nope, thumbs up.
All right.
Another good year for them.
Yeah, I'd give that probably an 8.
Yeah, I'll go straight 8 for them too.
I give him honestly. I give him like probably like an 8 or 9. To be
Yeah.
honest, maybe even I'll go with 9. I'll highball it a little.
All right. And
Highballing and lowballing.
Highballing.
I could go for a highball right now, actually.
yeah, those things are. I heard they give you lots of energy. Um, so I managed to watch Sony live.
Some of it.
Some of it before I lost internet. The only thing I really didn't see was Spider-Man, and I just watched that on data on my phone. I was pretty, I'll pretty much say blown away by the Last of Us demo. I was a big fan of the first game. That combat just looked fantastic. The graphics looked amazing. So I mean, that was probably my favorite game of that. Actually, it was definitely my favorite game of that conference.
Don't bury the lead.
Control looked cool too, though. I was into Control. I was in Control.
I also like The Last of Us. It looked really good. But for me, number 1 is Resident Evil 2.
Oh yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love to hear some. What is your take on Resident Evil 2, Rob?
Oh, I mean, I just love the original. I had the I played it. I wish I had the PlayStation version. I had the N64 version.
You guys
And
both.
I've always wanted a remake of that game because I thought that it was a really cool game, and I don't know, I just thought it was a game that really it didn't weather time very well, especially the N64 version that I had. So I don't know. I'm happy there's a remake for it, and the trailer looked great. It looked really creepy,
It looked
and
great. Yeah.
yeah, it looked fantastic.
I have the most reverence, I think, for that one. I mostly watched a friend play. I played through some of the beginning parts of it.
Hmm.
Definitely, like as the game goes on, you end up like in the like labs beneath the
Hmm.
police station. I
Mhm.
definitely stopped. Like I start getting it confused with the first Resident Evil. I'm like, which one has the shark? Like I can never remember that stuff.
Yeah.
I actually
But
never played 2 at all. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there.
oh no, no, go ahead.
That's pretty much all I had to say.
Uh,
If you had something else to say, keep going.
Not really. It's just
No.
I think it's really cool that they would do that, and
Mm.
I mean we
Yeah.
knew about it. Like I mean you might not have if you were listening to this, but I knew about it that it was, you know, there was like, I think it was some like HD fan game that Capcom shut down, and then
Uh,
afterwards they like pulled their fans, and it's like, do you want us to do this? And the most common thing that was written back was a picture of Zac Efron wearing a shirt that says "Just do it." So if you ever see the people from this game wearing shirts that say "We do it," that is
Wow.
what they're referencing. like,
I think it's fantastic because I thought Resident Evil 7 was like I didn't actually play it, but I watched my friend play through pretty much the whole game,
Hmm.
and I thought that game looked awesome. And compared to obviously Resident Evil 6, I don't know. I think it's great they're remaking it. I think it's good for the series that they're gonna remake. To me, what to me is the second best Resident Evil game after 4.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like playing it for the first time and playing it as like a fully 3D game instead of a
Hmm.
pre-rendered background, three-quarter
Oh
perspective
yeah.
game or whatever, fixed perspective game. I don't know if it would have really worked if they did the same kind of remake they did the first time around of the first game, because
Hmm.
I don't know if people would really take to that style of the game these days.
it is it's an optional thing though. I do like that
Oh,
they really kept the soul there. Like you can play that game in fixed cameras
well,
if you
that's
want to.
great.
Great.
That's great.
And like there's still there's still an A and B story and stuff like that. Like I think they really, that keeping that the soul of that game together, was very important to them, and I think it shows. I think if you look, I watched a little of I think it was Sony that was showing it today,
Mm.
and they were just showing a little bit of the police station, but I liked what they showed was like, we did things to make this feel more like a real police station. Like we
Mm.
moved the desk up to the front because it wouldn't make sense for the desk to be like way at the back of the police station when people would be coming up. Like we
Mm.
added bathrooms because there were no bathrooms in the original game. You know, we made it feel more like a living place that
That's
really,
cool.
yeah. And great reveal. I totally did not get it even when the mouse walked by the PlayStation 1. I still did not get it until the zombie was biting the guy's neck. I was like, oh my god, this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I thought it was that got me really excited for it. It really made me want to play it for sure.
Yeah, and I mean the other big tentpole games they had, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Spider-Man, they all looked really quite great as well. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
I was surprised when you'd mentioned Spider. I think you mentioned Spider-Man in the last video.
yeah,
And after I
was
saw the trailer
looking
for it, I was like,
forward
oh, I get it.
to it. Yeah,
I saw why you were excited.
and I love that they like revealed that this is going to be like a Sinister Six story. Like that's pretty cool. Um, what were you?
I like that it's not an origin story too.
Yeah,
I feel like I've watched so many Spider-Man movies. I guess there's only been 3, but it feels like a lot more than that. Where
there's
it's
been,
like,
6.
I've
at this
just got
point.
my powers, and what am I
Oh,
gonna
you mean 3
do?
origin stories? Is that what you mean?
Origin stories. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I guess Homecoming, like they kind of skip over the very early parts of like him like discovering his powers and stuff like that. But still, like I just find that that gets pretty tired, and I just like that it's like, no, he's Spider-Man. He's been Spider-Man for years now. He knows
Yeah.
all these people.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that a lot better. It's kind of like our Arkham Asylum. Like,
Yeah, totally. That was a fantastic game. It was such a dumb jump into. Um, and I mean, so I wonder what your thoughts of this on this are, Rob. John seems to think that I don't know about Death Stranding, but at least Ghosts of Tsushima looks like it could be a PlayStation 5 game.
all of
Really?
them. I think Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding are all PS5 games.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes you think that, out of curiosity?
They didn't have dates on them.
Uh-huh.
They weren't dated. I think it's really close. I think it's a lot closer than people think. I think that it could be at next E3 for both of them. You know, Rob, I don't know if you saw this, but like Phil Spencer like mentioned it.
Mhm.
He didn't say it by name, but he said like the next big hardware like is coming soon.
Mhm.
Like we're hard at work here, and it's going to be ready soon. And so like when they announced Halo 5 on a new engine, I'm like, this is going to be for the next Xbox.
Isn't Halo
That's just
6?
what I think. Sorry?
Isn't this Halo 6?
Halo, is it Halo? No, it's whatever. It's Halo
Sorry.
Infinite. It's not even called that. So
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. It's 6. It's actually technically like probably like the 10th or 11th
Well,
game.
if you count Reach, yeah, and ODST,
ODS,
and whatnot.
Spartan.
Hmm.
I just want to reiterate, just to go off what you were saying earlier, James, with Last of Us. I have not played Last of Us. I've meant to. It's sitting on my PS4. I could play it right now. I could hang up this call and play it right now. But I have just not gotten around to it yet. But I've watched the 2 previous trailers for this game, and neither of them I was like, okay, I'm in. Like neither of them I felt like it's like this is just for fans. Like it felt like a Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer where it's like I don't know what's going on. I don't know who these characters are. I don't know why I should care. And this felt like this had an arc. This had a story. I think especially if you watch the 2 previous trailers, you know enough now to start piecing together like why Ellie is the way she is in this. And yeah, I just think it showed great, and it was one of those things where it's like I wasn't super high on Last of Us Part 2 going into this, and it raised my anticipation for that game a lot.
Yeah, me too, definitely. It was similar to the first time I saw the first Last of Us. Like just seeing the combat, just like I was just so on board, so like right away, because like I'd never seen such fluid. I hate to use the word, but visceral combat in a game before, and I still never have really. Yeah, and I didn't see that other game that you have listed here, Design, or was that the VR game, the
Disney?
From Software? Disney?
Yeah, it's From Software's 3rd game that they're working on, I guess.
Okay.
So they did Shadows Die Twice. I think it's called Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice was at Microsoft.
Right.
This was after the press conference. They talked about it. It's a VR game. It's not like Dark Souls at all. It's like there doesn't appear to be combat in it at all. It's some sort of walking experience, exploration type thing. It seems really cool, actually. But like not the most interesting thing. And I think they're doing. They're finally releasing. What is it called? Ghost Wolf Alpha. What is that called? Metal Wolf.
Oh, Metal Wolf
something?
Chaos.
Metal Wolf Chaos. That's it. They're finally releasing that in English. That was the other game that people think they were working on.
Hmm.
That was at the Devolver press conference.
Yeah,
which,
I did hear about that. People were excited about that.
Yeah.
It was weird how they kind of showed Dreams throughout the conference, but never really talked about it. Did you notice that?
I feel like Dreams, and we mentioned this. You mentioned this to me yesterday after the conference. Like Days Gone was a total no-show, which I expected.
Well-
That game's going to be out before the next E3, and I think Dreams probably will be too.
Days
I
Gone
don't
wasn't
know.
a sizzle reel, wasn't it? I think it was.
Maybe.
But
Maybe
it
it
was
might
like,
have
I feel like those devs kind of got shafted a little bit.
I mean, but like I said to you, it's like they have had long gameplay demos at the two previous E3s. Like, I frankly think that game should have been out by now. Like, I don't know. It just feels like people didn't get hyped, and Sony just sort of like, well, we're kind of gonna cut our losses, which feels like what they're doing with Dreams as well. Even though I think that game looks really cool.
Could be very interesting, yeah.
I just wonder if, like, how many ways can we show this game? Because it's been out for, it's was announced many years ago now, and still isn't out. Still don't have a date. And I don't know, like, how long can you string a game along if it doesn't have an established franchise around it to prop it up? Like, how long can that go on before people just sort of lose interest?
Yeah, and I'm curious on your guys' thoughts on Death Stranding as well. Actually, just in general, like, what did you think of the gameplay now that we've finally seen it? How about you, Rob?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, no?
I watched most of it, but I think during that I was at work and I had to do some stuff and turn my phone off, so I actually missed that one.
I didn't even get your joke at first, John, when you said like the Bionic Woman was in it. Like, I didn't realize you actually meant like the real like actress who played the
Yeah, it's
Bionic Woman.
Lindsay. I can't remember,
Wagner.
Wagner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched like an interview with them afterwards, and like Kojima like legitimately considers her like one of his idols and like one of his heroes because like she like was a hero on TV who like solved problems like without violence kind of thing.
Yeah, I
But
mean, that's Kojima feels like he just watches a lot of movies and TVs late at night, and it's just like, I really like that person. I really want them in the thing I'm working on.
yeah,
Like, I've accused him of wanting to make movies and not really caring about video games, but I also think, like, whatever Death Stranding turns out to be, I still think that it was valuable in the end, because I think that only after watching like 4 trailers for this game, has it started to feel like a video game. I was like,
yeah,
oh, okay, like, I get that, there's been some sort of alien invasion. It's not safe to go out, but if you have these, tracking systems which are powered by babies, uh, you can sort of avoid them. They're attracted to humans, and they will totally kill you. Uh, what Norman Reedus said in the thing was like, even if they kill him, he'll respawn. So
yeah. I
yeah, I
guess
don't.
I've heard that like the way you respawn is basically like the baby is a clone of you, and then like they like make the baby just like rapidly grow into a new version of you. It's very
That's
strange.
like, I just think that, like, that is the kind of story that, like, nobody said no to him at any point in time. Like,
Yeah,
everyone said yes, and I'm okay with that, because I do feel like there was no Sony interference on this. There wasn't like some guy coming down. It's like, no, you need to make this story. You know, well, after what you've heard about, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 story getting canned because it was too, like, out there, too strange.
I
I'm
didn't know
much
that.
more in a game that is strange.
Yeah, I love seeing them just kind of like let an auteur like just go at it and do whatever he wants, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I actually like it was funny seeing Lindsay Wagner basically, who had never like ever done anything to do with video games before. Like he convinced her single-handedly by like sitting her down for 3 hours and just explaining the idea behind the game, and she was like, "Wow, he's like a genius. Like I have to be a part of this." Like that's basically how it happened.
That's so cool.
um, so yeah, I'd say honestly, even just factoring in The Last of Us and Spider-Man and Resident Evil 2, like I'd have to give it like a 9 and 9.5, personally.
Rob?
How about you, Rob?
I'd probably give it like an 8 or 9. I'd say definitely. It was definitely right up there with
Hmm.
probably. Yeah, I enjoyed it just as much as Ubisoft. If, like you said, if only just for Resident Evil and The Last of Us and Spider-Man look cool too. And also you guys did mention I like the second Kingdom Hearts trailer a lot too.
Oh yeah.
That was
Yeah.
good. It was cool to see a different trailer, so that got me hyped on that too.
Hmm.
James, do you think you could just talk about? You were talking to me about the uncanny valley that you had while watching that trailer in particular.
Oh, that's true. Yes, the Pirates of the Caribbean part, like, um, it really threw me off because it was like so photorealistic
Hmm.
that like once I saw like the Johnny Depp face and like how it wasn't as realistic as everything else, I was just like, oh, that looks really weird. Like it looks like a doll, and then and then you throw in like Sora and Donald Duck, and they just they look so out of place
Yeah,
in
that's
this like
why I
hyper
liked it. I was like,
realistic
wow.
environment.
There's so many times I wish I could do a Goofy impression. Like I would just do it all day long. I so envy
Whoosh.
people that could do Goofy impressions. It's him saying like, "Oh, geez, Johnny, do you think that you should?" I don't know. I can't do it.
I can't.
I
I'm not gonna
so...
Of
try.
course, Johnny.
There you go. That's pretty good.
That's really good, Rob.
Um, so yeah, what did you say your score would have been, John?
I think I gave it a straight 9. I just wanted to say
Uh,
that like it's easy in retrospect to look at these games and be like, "Wow, that was a knock it out of the park conference." I will say that if you were watching it live, you were subjected to like
yeah,
15 minutes, 20 minutes of just like nothing, of absolutely nothing. Well, they shuffled the crowd from one part
Yep. The
to
stupid
another.
intermissions.
It
that's
was like, and it was right after,
unprecedented.
it was after seeing the first game. Like that was
Yeah,
it.
they just like did it for effect because like it's like, oh, you're in the same environment as the game, and
I
like
just think,
That's why I
I
think
think
I'd
it was
give.
worth it.
I think I'd give like Ubisoft, for example, just like a little bit better. Just as I think as an overall presentation, it was better. And they had a lot
Yeah,
of good games. So
I
that's
really
true.
agree with you. I think that the only reason I would not give this the same score as Microsoft, frankly, because, like you could be like, well, there was fewer games here, but it's like, yeah, but a lot of them are first party titles and a lot of them were great and there were great
Yeah,
surprises. I just think that it's purely based on my irritation that like this thing did not work. Whatever they were trying did once again
they
not really work
they got a little
as
too
for the
like
viewer.
yeah they got a little too pretentious with it. I think.
oh yeah.
Especially with what's his face talking about like the being at church and stuff like that.
Yeah,
The church of Sony bow down.
yeah, that was very strange. Yeah, especially like just like the idea of a journalist being at a conference and having to like check Twitter to like find out what they're even announcing at that time, because
Yeah,
like not even telling them.
during that downtime, they talked about Destiny and Call of Duty
Oh,
briefly, which Sony has exclusivity deals with both of those games, so it's
yeah,
sort of obligatory that they would have to do them. But yeah, it sucks for people who are there like as their job, like to cover this, and it's like, oh man, I gotta go to the other actual source, which is the people at home watching.
yeah. And then like they get subjected to another musical performance. Not that it was bad, but like.
Oh yeah, it's like, and now back to the games. Oh no, sorry, musical performance first.
All right, let's move on now that we've talked about everything but Nintendo for an hour. um, what did you guys think of Nintendo? How about you, Rob?
I I absolutely loved Smash. That was fantastic. But overall, I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, that's pretty much my feeling. How about you, John?
Uh, it's so funny to hear you guys say that. I actually, man, I think I got more out of like the rest of the conference than Smash. Like Smash was like, oh okay, I'm interested to have this conversation now because I was surprised that Fire Emblem was there. I was
Yeah,
surprised that they had a new Mario Party to talk about.
it's true.
And even though I knew like Overcooked was going to be there because it was leaked and Fortnite and stuff like that, I still was like, oh, this is pretty good. It's a little light. You wish they would have more games this
Yeah,
year, but when it came to Super Smash Brothers, it just felt uh, like I was reading very specific patch notes for this.
I was gonna say it. Like, it was basically just Sakurai narrating the patch notes for the game
Yeah.
for like half an hour. Um, And I will admit, I skipped over a little bit of it, especially since when my girlfriend was like, "Are we seriously gonna watch this? Like, is he gonna talk about like every single character in the game?"
The answer was yes. Yes, he was.
And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
But then eventually, I had to skip over some of it. And but I mean, even though he went over like, it was just like amazing to me how many changes they're making. It's in the
Oh
first
yeah,
place.
there's a lot of changes. Yeah.
I think it was good to have my expectations be low for this, and I'm very. It's hard to say that it's not like I think it's very very gray territory to say that it's a port or a new game. I think there's enough here to basically constitute a new game, but I could definitely see how you can argue that it's basically a port at the same time.
Are you willing
It's
to hear
somewhere
that?
in the middle. Like that's what I always thought it was. It was kind
Yeah.
of somewhere. I don't think there's enough for it to be a new game, but it's not. It's it's different enough where it's not obviously a direct port. They've made it, like you said, they made a ton of changes, right? So
Yeah, I mean they got rid of Flood, which is great.
Oh, yeah.
I'm super happy
Yes.
about that.
I love the Breath of the Wild costume. I love
Yeah.
the Zelda Link Between Worlds costume.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm sure you
Uh,
were happy about Daisy.
Oh, I was like, you'll see the
Totally
reaction.
forgot about Daisy. That was the best part.
Weren't
By
Daisy
far.
New
and
characters, the three new characters, I was very pleased with. Daisy, who I didn't expect, but
Yeah.
Inkling and Ridley were two of the characters that I really, really wanted, and I'm happy to get them. So.
didn't we like when we went over our three most wanted Smash characters? Weren't Daisy and Ridley two of yours? Is that not
No.
the case?
I can't remember. I think I said Gino.
I think Ridley
Yes,
was
sir.
on.
Yeah, I think you might have been. I might be wrong.
I think I said Gino, Ridley, and possibly.
I
Well,
don't think Daisy was on there. Yeah, I
I
think
I
it
said
was
Stanley
someone
Bugman.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said something like "Gotta go with Bay" or something like that.
Oh yeah, gotta go with Bay, possibly. I did not expect Daisy. It's kind of crazy, but
Yeah,
Just to be clear, if you haven't seen it, she is just like a clone of
oh yeah,
of Peach, basically.
I know.
Which I mean,
And-
they've kind of done with the costume before, but now she's going to be, fully voiced and have her own like animations and stuff like that, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
yeah.
what they
I think
call her, an Echo character or something, or a
Yes.
yeah.
So she was relegated. She was an Echo character, and Dark Pit and Lucina were also relegated to Echo.
It's
characters.
weird that like Ganondorf isn't and Dr. Mario isn't though.
Yeah.
Dr. Mario. Yeah,
And
that's
Pichu.
inexcusable.
and Roy and
Young Link.
yeah, they're all Echo characters. How are they not?
I know.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Hmm.
Like even Dark Pit has a different move than Pit. His
Yeah.
B over is for sure different.
Yeah, you're right. It is.
James, did you like how for Ness and Lucas they changed their final smashes and like Pooh and Paula helps Ness and Kumatora and Boney help Lucas?
Yeah,
That was cool.
That's pretty great. I'm pretty happy
It's
about
like, yeah, it's almost Mother 3.
that. I'm also really like happy that not only are they like HDifying every stage they're bringing back, but they're doing like a Battlefield version as well as a Final Destination version.
Yep, Omega forms.
It's pretty
Pretty
cool.
great.
It's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
And I mean, they're adding new items, they're adding new assist trophies, new Pokemon. I mean, new stages. It's pretty crazy. I was not expecting this much new stuff like at all. Really.
It's cool that they definitely showed a few DS stages. Like they had the Spirit Tracks train stage, which was awesome.
Yeah, they had lots of 3DS stages. They had lots of returning like melee stages that haven't come back before.
Yep.
It
A
was-
couple from Brawl. They had New Pork City, which wasn't one of my favorites, but again, it's almost Mother 3, so.
No Pokemon from Nintendo 64 though.
Maybe. You don't know, though.
No, yeah, we
possible.
just didn't see it
We
there.
could see
I
it.
almost wonder if they've brought. Did they say whether or not they brought all the stages back from all the games, too?
I don't think they
That's-
said whether it was all.
No, that was not part of their language.
I
He
could
said
definitely-
that some of them would be brought back.
All
but
the
not-
characters are back, but
Yes.
I could see more stages as DLC, maybe even more characters as DLC.
Oh,
Mhm.
very much so. Like, get ready, guys, because the DLC is coming heavy and often, I bet.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I was wondering, because Sakurai said something like what do you say? He was like, I hope you weren't expecting too many more characters or something, but we have one more trailer to show you. That's the Ridley trailer show. But like,
Yeah,
I feel like they're gonna have at least a couple more characters.
I think he
Um,
means don't expect a lot of new characters like in the game, like when it
yeah.
comes out, like in the 1.0 version. But like,
Yes.
Okay.
I would not be surprised at all if there's going to be a lot of DLC.
It's amazing he was able to they were saying like I was reading a little article afterwards about like why it was difficult to make and about how they had to like secure all the rights again. They had to get the rights to Snake again.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can imagine.
That's the hardest one, I imagine.
Yeah, Konami's probably not playing super nice with
They
everyone at
have,
this
a,
point.
they have
I
a
don't know.
partnership with them. I wonder if they had to get Kojima's permission though. Like, I don't know, like, what if he owns anything of that.
Well, I think
Probably
Kojima
not.
like was the one who wanted it in the first place, wasn't he? So he's probably not against it.
mhm.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he asked him personally though, or something.
I just wanted to call attention specifically to one thing. I like that Sakurai mentioned that he changed the way that Wii Fit Trainer looked.
And
Said
that
in it that he did it reluctantly, that he only did it because he was asked specifically by the creator of Wii Fit Trainer to change it.
yeah, that's pretty great actually.
I like that he was that candid about that kind of thing. It
Yeah.
made it more entertaining to watch.
Yeah, well, she didn't have that quite a blank expression in the game, like in Wii Fit, that is. She kind of
I
had a
just
bit
like
more personality.
like that blank expression. It's like, no, she should have a blank expression.
Yeah, Sakurai's got a very interesting personality. He's very like in depth. He's like
Mhm.
it seems like he's kind of OCD about stuff a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
but he's got a good sense of humor, and he's very candid. I like him.
I just wanted to say also that like I'm much more okay with paying for DLC for new characters, like having a base game that knowing that I'm paying for a base game that has all of the old characters. Whereas in the Wii U version, I paid for some of those old
Mhm.
characters. Didn't feel great to be like, oh, I'm playing as Mewtwo now. Like it always felt more exciting to play as like Ryu or Cloud,
Cloud or somebody.
Yeah,
Bayonetta. Those
definitely.
were more exciting. Even Warren that I don't really care about. Like I was excited to play as them more so than Lucas.
Yeah, I didn't even buy those old characters until I got like an eShop gift card, and I was just like, okay, I'm finally gonna go back and get these guys.
I bought Lucas right away, but that's because he was one of my mains in Brawl. So, and obviously,
Yeah, makes sense.
well, actually, I pretty much bought all the DLC when it came out, which I
mean-
feel, oh well.
Yeah, I mean, they're making a big change to one of my mains, Samus. The fact that you can charge in the air now, that's gonna be pretty big. That's
That's
gonna
gonna be some serious bullshit. I'm not gonna be happy with that one.
What do you think about that side
Basically,
dashing
I'm
that
gonna
you
get
can do?
side dash.
There's like a side dash you can do in midair now. You see that?
I don't think I noticed that part. I thought it was just part
No?
of air. Oh, I think that was the part I may have skipped over actually.
Do you know what I'm
It
talking about,
worked
John?
Similar to an air dodge, didn't it?
Yeah.
Looks. I would imagine it works similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it leaves you vulnerable afterwards as well, much like an air
Okay.
dodge.
But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm very surprised that they tweaked it, and I don't know if they really rebalanced it. They kind of just seem to have done mostly quality of life improvements. But I'm okay with that. And I mean, I didn't expect them to actually bring back every single character. Like every character
Oh,
from
yeah.
Wii U, maybe, but like every character from every Smash Brothers, like that's pretty cool.
I just like seeing Pichu back. I was like, get the fuck out of here! No
Yeah,
way,
Pichu-
Pichu is back.
Pichu and Young Link, I was like, what?
I was happy to
Like,
see Young Link again. I was like, yeah,
No,
it's
me-
Young Link.
no, I wasn't
yeah,
upset
I'm
about
not
it.
saying- I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't upset. I was just like, "What the hell? Like, I don't believe this. Get this off the screen." It just seemed like such a strange thing. Like, I would love to have been at that table when they were like, "Okay, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna make this new and fresh?" It's like I'm gonna bring back every single character.
You
It's
gotta
like,
read. Look up the article, John. It said something like what was the title of the article? It says something like why Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was really difficult to make or something.
Mhm.
And it was literally Sakurai, I guess. He went up to his team and he's like, and he basically he was like, I want to make the Smash Brothers game include every single character from previous Smash Bros. Games. And I guess when he said it to the team, everybody was just silent.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I really didn't think he would get that ambitious with this one. Like
Yeah.
I thought he was like too burnt out to do something like this, and I'm like amazed and very impressed and very happy.
My thing was, I thought it was basically going. At most, I thought it was going to be, yeah, like amping up the, changing the graphics a little bit, and maybe some character costumes and stuff, and adding maybe like 3 to 5 new characters at most,
Hmm.
and maybe adding all the stages from the DS version. I didn't expect them to go,
Yeah,
you know,
no, not
as
this
deep
far.
as they did.
So like and maybe like I tipped my hand that I was a little bit more negative about this than you guys, but I did hope that there was going to be something in this trailer that was like, okay, this is a new game. This is
Mhm.
not just
I
Wii U with other stages. And for me personally, like I guess that would have been some sort of one-player mode or like
that'd
some
be
other
nice.
mode. Like I think that was something that would have shown me like, oh, okay, this is new, and it was just like, no, feels this definitely feels like the Wii U game like DX added all this stuff into it, you know.
I'm kind of with you there, John, because I was really hoping for that. I think I even mentioned it in my reaction video there that I was I was that was the one thing I was a little disappointed about. I was hoping for some kind of one player mode
Yeah,
type of thing.
that would have been nice. And considering that it's coming out in a month, I kind of doubt they had time to make something like that.
Mhm.
In a month.
Yeah, it's coming out in a month, isn't it? It's coming out in July
December.
12th.
Brother.
Oh my
December.
god, did I totally read that fucking date wrong? I thought I thought it was coming out on fucking July 12th, and I was like, are you
December
kidding me?
7th, I think.
Did they
I
just
think
like
it's
announce that it's coming out in exactly a month from today? Like it's like that's insane. Now I'm buying a Switch. Wow.
Sorry.
Okay, I guess I should have checked my sources before.
all good. You're all set. It's all good, man.
That makes so much more sense. Uh, all right, so December 7th.
What did you guys think of Ridley? I thought I
man.
was like I was surprised. I was sort of not surprised, but I was also like, wow. It's like I kind of can't believe they actually like did it.
Um, yeah, I mean, wasn't expecting it. No, I really can't believe they did it either, and
Yeah.
it looks like it works.
I think I kind of wanted him to be bigger.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Like I know that people like make that argument that it's like, oh, they could just shrink him down. They do to Bowser and stuff like that. And it's like I wanted him to be the biggest Smash character. Like
Yeah.
I just wanted him to like loom over small characters and
They did
be
change
immense.
his proportions a little, and he definitely does look like just another Charizard Bowser-sized character.
Mhm.
Which is still good. I mean, I thought it looked cool, and I don't know. He seemed very like, seems like has a lot of like sharp points to him, and I like that his moves seem to involve like a lot of like, yeah,
Mhm.
slicing, quick slicing, and dicing.
Yeah, that's
His final smash looks cool too. I think.
he like
pretty
throws them against Samus's ship.
Yeah, and just
Yeah,
it's also just nice to see another Metroid character that's not some iteration of Samus.
it's crazy to see
Real-
Metroid getting this much love, like in the last
great.
2 years.
I love
like,
it.
a Metroid 2
That's
remake.
one of my favorite series of all time, and I'm so happy that it finally is. I think it's great, and that's I know we didn't really talk a lot about the other things that were revealed at E3 for Nintendo's conference, but that's the one thing that was definitely missing, in my opinion, was Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, it's probably either not ready or they're just trying to spread their releases out. Because I mean, honestly, like between Mario Party and Smash Brothers, like those are two of their biggest like couch
Mhm.
multiplayer party games. Like that's kind of all they need for this holiday season.
And Pokemon.
And
Oh,
for
man,
selling
that's true.
their online service as well.
Yeah, well, I really hope Mario Party has online. I don't know if it will, based on that trailer, but
Yeah, you could be right about that.
uh,
I'll be honest, I think I've kind of been done with Mario Party for a long time,
yeah, I
and
don't know.
it didn't really.
The last game was very bad,
Is
apparently.
this a reboot though? Like, is this still ND Cube? Like, does anybody know this?
I'm sorry, I don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's still ND Cube. I hope not.
James, what did you think of Overcooked 2? I thought you would be excited about
Yeah,
it.
I love Overcooked, so I mean, I'm probably gonna pick up the PS4 version to be honest, but I'm pretty psyched for Overcooked too. You know,
And I'm excited. I literally just downloaded
Fortnite.
Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch.
We gotta get
So I'm
some
gonna finally actually play it.
squads going
Yeah, so guys, come play this with me unless you play on
on
the
PS4.
PlayStation and you're screwed.
But any
You
other
can't play.
version, even
Yeah.
even
Yeah,
iPhone,
take
I
out your
think.
cell phone. Play on that.
We should play some PC. We could even stream that. I could stream my PC version of like us playing some
Sure.
Fortnite squads. Maybe that's an idea.
Sure, I'd do that. Sure, I'll have to get into it, but yeah, most
Carry me,
definitely.
James. I
And
need
yes, I've never played Fortnite, everybody, so there we go.
It's a good time.
Are either of you guys Fire Emblem fans? Were you guys?
I played the first one that came over here on the GBA. That's really about it.
It's been a series that I've really wanted to get into, and I think it looks good. Um, yeah, I was just impressed that it was there. I really thought that like
Mhm.
Nintendo forgot that they announced it, more than a year ago now. That they're like, don't worry, Fire Emblem's coming, and then it was like, oh man, this year's gonna go by, and they're totally not gonna mention this at all. Like what happened to poor Yoshi? Like it was just like,
Yeah.
no Yoshi.
That was the
But
other
no,
big.
it was totally there.
That was the other big disappointment for me was I was really hoping to see that Yoshi game because you know how much Rachel and I both enjoy playing those games, and it seemed like a game that would get released this year, didn't it? Am I like alone in that
No,
thinking?
you're not alone. Especially since, like, whether it was actual gameplay or mock gameplay, like, they actually had the game up and running
Sure.
at last year's E3, and so, like, to see a 2D platformer once, like, miss an entire year, just doesn't seem to make sense. It only really makes sense in the context that it's the same people that made the last Yoshi game, which was, also suffered a very similar fate, I think.
My guess is they're gonna release it next spring.
I could
You
see
know,
that. Yeah, I could
I
see them
wouldn't be
doing a
surprised.
direct, like in September, October for like the games
Mhm.
coming out in January through April kind of thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that. And they did say they wanted to focus mostly on 2018, except for some reason. I mean, I guess Fire Emblem is releasing into 2019, like
Yeah, I
early,
wonder. I wonder if that just got delayed, though. I wonder if
possibly.
when they were planning this event, it was part of it, and then they were like, "Yeah, it's not going to be ready. Please, we need 3 more months or 4 more months or whatever."
Yeah.
James, I think you hit it on the head. I think between Smash, um, Mario Party probably, and Pokemon, I think they're probably pretty
That's
pretty set for the holiday
yeah, that's a
season.
pretty good triad of games right there, and it's like
Yep.
they got plenty of indie games to back them up. They got Fortnite.
Yep.
Um,
So can I get real with you guys for a second? I know I don't
Sure.
want to it's real talk. Let's bring it down. So like Nintendo, they stated their sales expectation this year was 20 million Switches,
Mhm.
and like they're not going to hit that. They're not even really going to come close. And I was really hoping that we were going to see a price drop. I was like, oh, like I knew that information. I knew that like they were not close. They were not going to be close by the end of this year. And I was like, oh, if they dropped it by 50, I bet you they could get close.
mhm.
And it didn't happen. So I was kind of bummed by that. I do wonder, because I do think I see sentiment that online that the Switch has had a pretty mediocre first half of the year.
Mhm.
And if you don't really care about Smash Brothers, I think that you could frame it that it's had a pretty mediocre year all around. And it's not selling, it's selling well, but it's not selling what Nintendo thinks it should sell. I just worry that like they've sort of squandered this
It's good.
like momentum that it feels like they had in the first year. Like it just, I know that they only have like that Zelda and Mario bullet in their gun so often,
Yeah.
but
I think Pokemon's gonna do well, to be honest.
I think
I think
Pokemon could
Pokemon's gonna help them
definitely
a lot more than
help them out.
people think.
That
it
could
is
be a
going to
big
help,
game.
sure. But I don't think, I just don't know. It just doesn't feel like a core game either. And I think
No.
that's, they still really need to get core people on board as well. So
I think it'll still attract quite a lot of people though. Like Pokemon always brings in huge numbers.
Yep.
Like it's always insane. Every time it always gets bigger too. Like I could see this even doing better than Sun and Moon. It's possible. I don't know. I mean, this isn't a handheld console this time around, so maybe not.
hmm
But I don't know. It's
there's
possible.
also way fewer Switches out there than there are 3DSs.
Yeah, but it could sell systems totally. I think. And I
Sure,
think
it
Smash
could.
might as well. I don't know. But I
It's
think you're
not
right.
going to sell 10 million systems, though.
No, I think you're right though. I think like there was like I think they needed something like whether it was Battlefield or Call of Duty or there was rumors about Diablo 3. Like Fortnite is something, but it's already on everything else. Like they needed some kind of like heavy hitter AAA Western game that shows that like those companies care about this system, and I don't think they really had that. So that was unfortunate.
It just doesn't
We-
feel that dissimilar from some years on the Wii U, where it was
Oh,
like,
definitely
I think
not.
if you are a fan of Nintendo and you like all these series, you can be like, "What are you talking about? There's great games on this system. Like it's doing great." But I think if you, yeah, from an outside perspective, it never felt like that on the Wii U. The Wii U always felt like it struggled to have any sort of releases of note.
To me, every Nintendo console, when it gets a lot of third-party support, it just seems to come from Japanese publishers for the most part. It doesn't really seem to come from Western publishers enough. Like it comes from indie developers, sure, but I don't know. Other than Ubisoft, but Ubisoft doesn't bring their heavy hitters to it. They just kind of like develop their own little projects for the Nintendo systems usually.
It sounds like from what we were talking about too, another issue they've been having is getting people to port games to the Switch.
Yeah,
So that might not be,
and I mean,
helping them either.
if the game runs in like Unity or something, then it's easy. But
hmm
if the game was designed to run on a PS4, then it's not going to be as easy. If it was designed to be a cutting edge game, then I mean, until they do a hardware redesign, I think it's going to be a challenge for a lot of developers.
I'm hoping, I was hoping that maybe later on, I guess yesterday, as of when this will be posted, I was really hoping later on in their treehouse and all that because if you remember, Samus Returns was announced after
I
their
do.
presentation. I was hoping they were gonna have a few more things to announce, but they ended up not. But I also could see them saving more things for like a later direct in a few months or something.
Don't they have a habit of doing a surprise announcement during some kind of like private press briefing? Like I remember they announced Smash Brothers in one of those at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that might happen this time again? Maybe.
I don't know. I was hoping it would happen. Because doesn't it usually happen the same day? If I'm not
No,
mistaken.
it's usually like on the Thursday or something.
The Thursday or something. Maybe
Yeah.
it'd be cool. Because it seem like it was just I don't know. It just seemed for me. Maybe it's because my expectation was to see like Yoshi, Metroid, something like that. I don't know. It just felt like slightly.
I honestly wasn't not holding my breath for either of those games.
No.
I was
Yeah.
expecting to just see Smash and those leaked games. Mario Party and Fire Emblem were really the only surprises for me.
hmm
Everything else was just like a lot of Japanese games and a lot of indie games, which is very common for Nintendo Directs.
But even like, you say like Japanese developers, but like, I don't think that Neo 2 is going to be on this console. I don't know
Yeah.
that for a fact.
That's
But
probably not
like,
gonna
I don't
happen.
think that Resident Evil 2 remake is going to be on this. Like, I feel like
That'd be
there
awesome. I
is
wish.
Yeah, I mean
I
more
feel like
like,
there's
sorry.
yeah, like a certain
There's a certain level of like double A middle tier developers that seem to kind of exist more so in Japan at this point. Maybe not.
yeah. I I think I mean they struggle like everyone else does, but yeah, they're out there for sure. But it just seems like yeah, Shin Megami Tensei will come to that console, but games with like maybe a broader appeal do not for some reason.
Like Monster Hunter World, it probably isn't going to.
Yeah, I think that is a contract thing though. The story was that like that was Sony footing the bill for at least some of that to make that. Basically, they were fighting against Nintendo in Japan. That's why they didn't care when it came to Xbox. Like that was not their concern. It was only
That's true.
fighting.
Monster Hunter on Nintendo systems in Japan is like a pretty big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know Sony doesn't, especially in the last two gens, has done not particularly well against Nintendo. You know, Japan has been Nintendo fans.
And they kind of stole that from them. Like that was a big PSP game for a long time.
Yeah, and PS2 before that as well.
Oh right. So, I guess do you want to rate the Nintendo conference?
I'll give it a straight 7.
That's what I was gonna give it. 7 out of
Below
10.
Ubisoft.
I'd give it a 7.5. I think. I think like Smash Brothers basically just brings it up. Everything else was disappointing, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, I guess to cap it off, we have a couple of categories here that I thought we might. Well, we have 4 categories here. I thought we might go over. Maybe we'll just go like pick an order. Like maybe John, Rob, me.
Yeah, thank
So-
God.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest it's like please call out our names when you want us to answer.
Yeah,
But
let's
if we
just-
do an order, that will work too.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so first would be your biggest surprise.
And so it's me that's going first. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I didn't get to talk about this because I kind of wanted to make it a big surprise here at the end. My biggest surprise is Control.
Okay.
Out of the Sony press conference, it's Remedy's new game. I was surprised that Remedy had anything to show.
Yeah.
Remedy famously takes a ridiculously long time to develop any of their games. That's why they've only made like 3 in the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
But you know, it just feels like, oh, of course they would take the good things from Quantum Break and try and use them again, you know, for something else. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think that trailer was really interesting. I think that some of that was running in engine, like it looked like a real game that someone was playing, even if it was mock gameplay, which was really cool. And I was very surprised to see the publisher is 505 Games, which is a very small publisher. This is a very big game for them. So everything about it was very surprising.
Yeah. I think I briefly mentioned that. Yeah. But that's a good choice. How about you, Rob?
There's 2 I can think of. First is Resident Evil 2, just because I didn't expect it, and I thought it was great. And also, randomly, Battletoads. That is the most.
Yep.
I would like if there's one game that you would tell me, hey, they're gonna do a new game in this series, and you said it was Battletoads, I'd be like, what? You know, so it was just so random. So yeah, but Resident Evil 2, I think gets the big one for me.
A couple of years ago, Phil Spencer had the Battletoads shirt on, right? I think
Oh,
people
did
were
he?
like, "Oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming," and then it never did. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it was a surprise to see it show up. Those are good picks, Rob.
Yeah.
Honestly, you stole pretty much both of the things I was thinking of.
Oh, come on.
Resident Evil 2 and Battletoads. I'd have to also say, I was looking at it here. Sorry. I mean, it was, honestly, I think Elder Scrolls Swords kind of surprised me, just in like, the fact that I was interested in a mobile game. That might be one of my picks if I can't pick Resident Evil 2.
Can't
Go ahead,
pick it.
pick Resident Evil 2.
But that would probably be my pick, to be honest. I would also pick Resident Evil 2. Like, I was not expecting to see that at E3 for some reason. I just kind of forgot about it. And then when it showed up, I was like, oh, yeah, That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the
Really
same
happy to
thing
see
happened to me. I
this.
was like, oh crap, they actually released this,
Yeah.
like the
Uh,
trailer for this.
I constantly watch someone who is obsessed with Resident Evil 2. It is his favorite game of all time, and so I am reminded every single time there's any sort of precedence that it's coming. It's going to be there, and it never is. So I was prepared. I thought it's like, it could be there.
All right. So yeah, those are all good picks, I think. Next,
Good job.
next thing is the biggest no-show. So how about you, John? What do you think?
I yeah, I'll once again try and go with a sort of surprise pick because I kind of can guess what you guys are gonna pick, and that's I'm gonna go with Rocksteady. I think that I was so sure that we were gonna see something from Rocksteady this year, and I don't know what that game is. I don't know what they're working on. You know, people are like, it feels like every month it's like, oh, it's Justice League, and then it's like, oh, it's Batgirl, and it's like, oh, it's Harry Potter. Or it's everyone seems to agree that it's some sort of WB franchise, but no one, it's different every time. And I was just like, okay, here it comes. We're gonna know what this game is. Even if it's just like a logo or something. But they were a no-show. They weren't in any of the press conferences, and we'll go another year. Probably whatever they're making is not coming out for this generation. So
Probably, yeah. How about you, Rob?
You go first because I don't want to. I want to see what you say. I don't want to steal your thunder or anything.
Yeah, we're probably
So, go
gonna pick
ahead.
the same thing.
Go ahead.
It was, even though I probably shouldn't have expected to see it, I would have liked to see something about Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Anything really, a picture, something, concept art.
Yeah.
come on,
What'd you say, John?
there was a picture. It was like that off-screen one
That wasn't
shot.
at E3 though. That wasn't in the Square Enix conference
It
or
was kind
anything.
of around E3.
What about you, Rob?
I'm gonna say something like something different than what we said before, and it's in regards to Nintendo. And we talked about this on our last video. I thought it would be interesting to acknowledge. First, I was surprised to see, unless I missed something, they didn't announce anything about Amiibo, which was interesting. The only thing I saw about Amiibo the whole conference was that the Smash Bros. Characters were compatible with them. That's it. They didn't
Yeah.
announce any new Amiibo, anything. And that kind of blew my mind. And also, we had also talked about the potential for like an N64 Classic or something.
Oh,
They never
yes.
mentioned anything about that either. So like aside from, and they also didn't mention any 3DS games either. That's why it
Yeah,
seemed
not a
like
single one.
which it seems that just seemed. I think thinking about it, those as well as not seeing, and I know you guys said you weren't as surprised as I was, but not seeing Yoshi, not seeing Metroid, like that was kind of. I felt like I wanted to see more from Nintendo, and they disappointed me a bit. But obviously, the glaring omission is Final Fantasy VII. I think.
Yeah, I
You know?
think so too. All right.
Sorry, just before we move on, when is the last game that they had an amiibo line for? And I don't mean just like Shovel Knight as a one-off thing. I mean
Let's
like,
see. Mario Odyssey had some amiibo.
oh,
Dark
you're right, they
Souls.
did.
There's a Dark Souls
Isn't there
amiibo
a
that's I
Captain
think
Toad
coming.
one?
There's a Captain Toad amiibo. I think you're right coming out. There was a Detective Pikachu one.
Yeah. So they are still doing it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's still amiibos have been like hugely successful. So
can
I
see
just
that.
wondered if like stores were getting pissed off. It's like, hey, we got these things. We still got these old Animal Crossing ones sitting around here.
Every Walmart.
I know.
So many.
That's all I
Animal
have.
Crossing amiibo.
Well, no one wanted to buy that stupid Snakes and Ladders game where there were no snakes and no ladders.
Oh man. I don't. Yeah, the less said about that game, the better. All right. I liked this idea of John's. The game that you kind of cooled on, like game that you were anticipating, but then E3 actually made you less excited about it.
Oh shit! I threw that out without actually having an answer for that.
Oh.
Can someone go first?
Sure. You guys might not be super happy with this, but honestly, like you said, with those trailers, for me, it was
Nice.
Kingdom Hearts
Good
3. Like, I was kind of looking forward to it going into E3, and then based on those trailers I saw, like, it looks interesting, sure, still, but like, I wasn't like, yeah, I'm like super hyped for this game now. Like, that was not the result of those trailers. So yeah, that's my pick, unfortunately. How about you, Rob?
I got to think about this one real quick. I don't know if you want to go first, John.
Okay, yeah, I'll do what I can. Just going through, the one that sticks out to me is Just Cause 4.
Hmm.
Not because I like had a lot of expectations for that game, or that I was like, it's like, oh man, I can't, like I was so high on it. But I really like the Just Cause series. I like Just Cause 2, and I like Just Cause 3 as well. And just seeing it kind of felt like it's like, okay, this is more.
Hmm.
It's Just Cause with a tornado now. And it's like, I don't know. I've always wanted Just Cause to be either a little more serious or a little more goofy, and it
Hmm.
kind of is in this weird middle ground that
Yeah, I know
I
what you
don't
mean.
know. It just felt like, and when they talked about it in that, I think it was Keith David talking about it, and it was like, he was talking about it's like, oh, it's still got that, that story if you want to do it, and it's like,
Does
yeah, but
anybody want to?
the story is so bad. Like it would be so much more enjoyable if it was fun and funny and like crazy.
Hmm.
Uh, it just did not. That game did not come off as like having any levity to it. It seemed like a very serious trailer in a way that
It
I
did.
was bummed by. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm still probably gonna play that game though.
Yeah, me too.
I honestly don't know if I could think of one that I was excited
Yeah.
for that disappointed.
Or was
Hmm.
there anything that you saw that like maybe at another time in your life you may have been on board with, but then now you were just like, whatever.
Yeah, I probably that Tomb Raider game.
Yeah.
I think at one
Yeah.
time I would have thought like a Tomb Raider game would have been pretty cool, but that didn't. That trailer didn't really do anything for
Yeah,
me.
I didn't. Somebody on Giant Bomb said it really well, where they were like, in the Tomb Raider game, like the combat just didn't feel consequential at all. Like you were just going through and like stringing people up and killing people no problem. Whereas in The Last of Us, it felt like you could like make mistakes and then like just like things could go to shit and like things would take a turn. Like you weren't just constantly plowing through people.
Right? Yeah. It
Um,
just. Yeah, it
I
didn't
like that.
really. I guess I would go with that one.
Yeah. All right. So next, if we want to start with John again for this one, would be most. This would be our last category: most anticipated game.
Oh man, I don't. I'm gonna pick something crazy
Okay.
just to screw you get like, because
Crazy.
honestly, it is Kingdom Hearts. Like, come on, I love Kingdom Hearts series
Yeah.
so much. Those
Okay.
trailers were all bad, and I didn't care. Like, I saw that Aqua was gonna be a villain in this, and I was like, no, no, not my Aqua. It can't be.
That was
Uh,
surprising.
I was so like I'm just so invested in that series in a way that I'm not for like any other game on this list.
Hmm.
Uh, but I am, yeah. I'll stay with that. I love Kingdom Hearts. Very excited to play, but I was a little bummed that it is not going to make the year. But
It's close.
it's yeah, and it for some reason every game is coming out in like February. I don't understand what's going
You
on.
want? You know what that reason is? Red Dead
Oh
Redemption
yeah,
2.
yeah, exactly. Which is I assume your most anticipated. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, it wasn't at E3, so I don't think that counts.
Oh, you can still pick it, I think.
Eh, I'm not going to. I'm going to pick
Okay.
something that was
All
at
right.
E3.
All right. Rob?
How about you, Rob?
Um, I don't know. There's a few of them, I guess, but I don't. I couldn't pick one.
No, even just on
Mm,
the Switch, like something
yeah,
like between
nah.
like Octopath and Smash, and I mean, just what they showed, really, I guess, would be.
Of what they showed on the Switch, I mean, probably Smash. I
Yeah.
would probably be if I had to pick overall. I don't know. I'm definitely in your camp, John. I'm super excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. I want to play that game very badly. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go for a very unpopular one and just say Pokemon Let's Go, even though it was revealed before E3.
I like that pick.
It's a good
Super
one.
excited for that game. I know it's I don't know. I think it's gonna be really good. But
Cool.
um, there's two of them that I want to give honorable mentions to because I hadn't even considered one and I had forgotten about the other. But I feel like I'm really interested in playing them both a lot, and that's Resident Evil 2 and the new Assassin's Creed. I think the new Assassin's Creed actually really looked great, and it kind of reinvigorates me to play that series again, to be honest.
Man, if you got honorable mentions, then I got to have at least
Okay.
one.
Yeah,
Please
go
do.
ahead.
Oh, and Beyond Good
Uh,
and Evil 2. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, Beyond Good and Evil looks that well. You're going to be anticipating that game for a long time because.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give another shout out to Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit. Looked really cool. I love that it was free. I love that they're doing more with that, and I love that they like just listened to the song which played at the beginning, which is "Death with Dignity" by Sufjan Stevens, and
nice.
were inspired by that song to make this story. I just think it all seemed to fit in a way, and when I watched that trailer, I was like, "This is great! I'm having such a good time."
That's good. All right. Well, I guess my honorable mention, honestly, would probably have to be Smash, because I had low expectations going into that announcement, and even though it's not coming out next month, I'm still. I think that game might be a system seller for me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm really happy to hear you say that, James.
Really? Okay.
Well, I just feel like I never like to see James be
Down on a
mad
Nintendo
about
system.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
It's true. It didn't feel good to be down on a Nintendo system, and now I'm finally like, okay, I can finally get on board with this.
Do you think you're gonna get that and Octopath Traveler as your first games, or?
Yeah, I have to get Snipper Clips as well because I want to play that with Megan.
Mario
yeah,
Odyssey, probably, right?
yeah, I don't know. I might just borrow that from you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can borrow
Or
it from
not,
me.
whatever. No, I honestly, believe it or not, Mario Odyssey has kind of gone down on my priority list quite a bit.
Great game.
I'm gonna have to give it a try at some point. I mean, I have given it a try, but I don't know. But yeah, Resident Evil 2 also looks great, obviously. But yeah, Smash Brothers has got to be my honorable mention. Honestly, the game trailer that wowed me the most, even though didn't have a demo, was Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I was super into that trailer. Like the music, even just the logo, just how like diverse and how alive that world looks, and it looks like you're gonna have a ton of choice in what you want to be, what you want to do, how you want to approach it, and that setting is just super exciting to me. So that's got to be my pick, I think.
That was a good pick, James. Absolutely. I actually really liked Cyberpunk too from the trailer.
Yeah, I liked it a lot as well.
Yeah, I think that was a good diverse
Mhm.
set of picks as well.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh, I should have trolled. I should have done Command and Conquer at the end, but I don't even have that in me, man. I just
yeah, and we were talking earlier, me and you, John, about how it seems like We Happy Few is kind of pivoting to a more narrative direction. I was really happy to see that. I might throw that in as an honorable mention too.
yeah, that was something that you just heard that I don't know, who knows, right? That but it is in early access. You can play that game now, and it's not very good. It's really not what the trailers are selling, and I do
Yeah.
have heard that it's going to be that the team has pivoted to a much more narrative focused game than they were originally anticipated making. Because I think they really there's something really, I don't know. I haven't seen a game like that before that
Yeah, me neither.
deals with people who are on this drug and refuse to stop taking it, refuse to look at the world's problems, which I mean,
It has
that's something that is very prescient today, I think.
Yeah, it's very poignant indeed. And yeah, I think it's just looking at that broader idea of distracting people, like entertainment's role in society kind of thing. It's all very interesting. I like that there's games that are actually broaching that subject now. It's really cool. I love that it's growing as an art form. It seems to happen every year, and it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, who won? Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo? What do you guys think?
Sorry, say again?
I said, who do you think won E3 between those three?
Hate that question.
I know.
So bad.
Okay, forget it.
My vote goes.
Just
My vote goes to Ubisoft.
I kind of mean just between the three console manufacturers, to be honest.
Oh, I thought you meant like specifically the different presentations.
Hmm.
Of the three, to be honest, it definitely wasn't Nintendo. I know that.
Yeah.
For me, I would have picked Sony over Microsoft, but at the same time, I watched more of Sony's than Microsoft, so I
Hmm.
don't think I can say between the two. And while Sony had less games, I think I'm more excited about a few games than. Maybe that's not true though, actually, because there is quite a lot on Microsoft that looks good. Cyberpunk looks good.
Well, that's not an
Battlefield,
exclusive, but
yeah.
how about you, John? What do you think?
um, all I can say is like, if you guys remember, if you watched the Bethesda E3 conference, Todd Howard came out and rambled on about E3 and how like it's like, oh, and it's when it was an infant, it moved to Atlanta and nobody showed up, and it was like it just went on forever. But it does make you think like there were times when not that long ago where gaming didn't seem so diverse, that it
Hmm.
didn't seem like it was growing really. And I think that gaming is always going to struggle, as it is. It's always going to be a pushback against corporations that are trying to make the most amount of money possible on a product that is essentially arts and entertainment. But I think that, like, when I look at my giant list of games that is in front of me, there are games that cater to so many. Like, I find it hard to believe people when they say it's like, well, that E3 went by and I wasn't interested in a single game. It's like,
Mhm.
I just can't imagine that that is the case. And if that is the case, like maybe it's time to think about broadening your horizons a little, because there is something for everyone. And we didn't even talk about, smaller games that don't get a lot of attention, like the stuff that was shown at Devolver, like 505 Games that are on the floor, like Big Ben Interactive that's on the floor. Like those guys don't get time in these conferences, but they're publishing a lot of really cool games constantly.
That's true.
I'm just When I look at this E3 and the last couple of E3s as well, I'm just like I'm happy with the way things are going right now, and it just made me feel like, and I liked that Microsoft had a really strong showing, because I feel like no one, very often in the forums that I visit,
Mhm.
nobody is in their court, and I always feel like I kind of have to be, even though I don't know Xbox One and don't really care,
Mhm.
just because people are so uh, there's so much rhetoric involved with what they're doing. So it was nice to see them sort of have a nice showing.
Yeah, I agree. I think they had the best overall showing. Even though I was more interested in the games at Sony's conference, I think Microsoft did the best job, and
Mhm.
uh, really kind of reinvigorated my confidence in the Xbox. I think a little bit, because they've been struggling quite a bit, but I think they've really kind of just like reaffirmed that they are about games, and they are about fostering talent and about driving the industry forward. And I think Microsoft's been making some really good uh, decisions lately, just in general.
Sounds like they have to as well. I think it's also a bit out of necessity, but
Yeah.
uh,
But I mean, we talked about it just before this, that like if you're on Fortnite, like you can totally play, Xbox versus Switch,
mhm.
Yeah.
and Xbox versus all other platforms, but Sony's not going to let you do that, not
Mhm.
because of a technical reason, but because they choose to not allow you to do that, because they feel like it somehow diminishes their brand, or you're less likely to buy a PlayStation. I don't really understand that argument that people make, that it's like, well, they're the market leader, so they don't have to do that. It's like,
That's
but
stupid.
at this point in time, like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to stop people from buying a
Were they
PlayStation.
not third or not last
Last generation.
yeah, last generation. Yeah, it would be
They
last generation.
technically the PS3 actually did outsell the 360 in the end, but
Uh-huh.
just barely, and it didn't pass it until I think after the PS4 had come out.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I mean.
And you have to think like because the Xbox 360 and it's the same thing with the Xbox One, like they don't exist in so many markets that
Mm.
PlayStation exists. Like they really don't sell. Like the Xbox One is probably going to sell like 110,000 units lifetime in Japan,
Yeah.
which is nothing, right? Like
Mhm.
it's absolutely nothing.
Mm.
Um, where the PlayStation is maybe going to sell 8 million or something like that. So it's, in North America where we live, it was a blowout. Xbox 360 dominated PlayStation in that generation.
Mhm.
But I mean, it led them to make a lot of arrogant decisions and anti-consumer decisions when the Xbox One came out, where they were like, people are just going to buy it because they had an Xbox 360. And I just, I worry that with maybe new hardware on the horizon, that Sony's making all the wrong moves to repeat the mistakes of the past.
Oh yeah. If there's one thing that's not a constant, it's like the market leader in the video game industry.
Being dickhead, basically.
Yeah, and it happens every generation, like without fail. Nintendo did it with the Wii U. Sony did it with the PS3. Microsoft did it with the Xbox One. They always go into the new generation with that level of arrogance, that level of, oh, they'll just buy this because they bought the last one. And it could happen with the PS5. It's possible.
Yeah. And it feels like all the work that they do to like this whole generation has been like, the Xbox team's work to like get back to a competitive place in the market. And it's the same with the PS3, and it just feels like all that work is just immediately squandered. It's like, you idiots! People have probably moved on or have retired or went on to different jobs, and they're looking at this like, you fucked it all up, you idiots.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess it's still more healthy than some industries, though. There's still some healthy competition, I guess, that's happening, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's nice. I don't know.
Probably, honestly, I think there's probably only going to be one more generation
Yeah, I
of
mean, everything's gonna be
act-
streaming.
in homes, and then after that it will be streamed games and stuff like that as technology improves. So I'm still excited about whatever the future brings.
Definitely.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Any final words, Robert?
I think John sewed it up beautifully there. That was nice.
very well said, John.
Both of you guys. Yeah, both of you guys. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we just hit 2 hours, so maybe we
Holy
should
crap.
maybe we should wrap this up.
We usually hit 2 hours, right? No matter what.
Yeah, we usually hit around that mark, and there's a lot to talk about.
This like a ton of times.
Well, we're getting up there. I think we're at like half a dozen now, possibly. Well, between the ones I've done with just Rob and the ones I've done with the two of you.
This is only my third, so
Yeah.
if you have feedback, write it in the comments below.
Indeed.
Yes, please do. If you actually sit through all 2 hours of this,
Yeah,
please leave a comment.
And if you did make it through that, thank you very much, by the way.
Actually, wait. Here's the test. If you sit through all 2 hours of this, say marshmallow. Just comment marshmallow. That means you made it to the end. Good job.
All right, that'll be the secret word.
You know what, James? Keep that word in mind for later when you might be watching something that happened earlier today.
Say that again?
Just keep that word in your mind.
Okay, I will. Freaking cat hair all over
Something
me.
else today with a marshmallow.
All right. Oh, yes, you're right. Something else did end with a marshmallow today. Are you talking about when he showed up? No, I don't. Never mind. Like, I was talking about the artist Marshmallow with that stupid head. He showed up randomly at the Ninja interview or whatever.
Very randomly. He had
Anyway.
nothing to do with that. It wasn't like he was involved in a certain tournament that happened today.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to watch that. Anyway. I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. I hope you
was
had fun
great.
as well. And
Thank you for listening, everyone.
And
Yes,
thank you,
thank you.
James, for inviting us again for a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks, James.
yeah, no problem. It was a pleasure. Um, all right, well, another E3 is in the bag. My first E3 on the channel. It was a good time.
Yay.
All right, see you next time, everyone.
Peace, guys.
Bye.
Sure.